What's up, guys? The Land Rover Evoque is one of the most loved crossover SUVs in the whole country. This is a luxury crossover that is a dream car for many people. Sadly, many people don't know how hard it is to keep this car on the road, how expensive it is, and what not majority, what a certain percentage of owners of this car are going through. Now in this video, I try to identify all of the problems that you may encounter if you were interested in buying the Land Rover Evoque Generation 1. So this is the identity of the Land Rover Evoque. The whole first generation was either available with a two-wheel drive setup or a four-wheel drive setup. Now you will need a four-wheel drive if you stay in a township, especially townships that are neglected and the roads are horrible. Sometimes when it's raining, it becomes much more difficult. So that's where you need a car that has all-wheel drive. Otherwise, if you're driving in the suburbs most of the times and in proper freeways, you might not need a four-wheel drive setup. So this car was available with both either a four-wheel drive or a two-wheel drive setup. From 2011 to 2018, the Evoque was available with three versions: a two-door version, four-door version, and a convertible version. The two-door version was then dropped in the 2018 model year, leaving only the four-door and the convertible version. Remember, Land Rover wanted to make the baby of the whole range, a car that is drivable each and every day and has less fuel consumption. That is why they made sure that they keep the weight down in the manufacturing of the Land Rover Evoque. The weight of the Land Rover Evoque, because of the aluminum parts that have been used, was kept down at 1,670 kgs, which is a small weight for any SUV out there. Throughout the life of the first generation of the Land Rover Evoque, from 2011 until 2018, it was available with three engine configurations: two turbo diesel engines and one petrol engine. The first turbo diesel engine produced 148 horsepower, the second producing 187 horsepower. Now the third and the most powerful of the whole range is a turbocharged petrol engine producing 237 horsepower. Fuel economy with the turbo diesel was at around 6 liters per 100 kilometer, while the petrol engine was at 11.9 liters per 100 kilometer. Now we're coming to the most important part of the video: the ownership experience of a Land Rover Evoque. Is this car a very reliable car or it's a problem car? Answer is simple: it is a problem car. Now, if you are going to be buying a Land Rover Evoque, it is very crucial that you check the following. At number one, electrical issues. This car is a luxury brand. Land Rover itself is a premium luxury car manufacturer. Their cars have a lot of technology, a lot of screens, a lot of computers, electrical issues. It is very important for you to understand that you are buying a second-hand premium luxury car brand. So this car has a lot of electronics. You have electronics on your seat, massaging seats, electronics on the door, soft closed doors, electronics on your mirrors. There's electronics on the engine bay. There's electronics on the engine. Between the engine, there's electronics between the engine and the transmission. Electronics on the engine, the stop-start technology. There are so many electronics in this car. And when one electronic goes wrong, it is very difficult for Land Rover technicians to actually pinpoint which electronic or which computer is malfunctioning. That is why when you go to Hello Peter, you will get many stories of Land Rover owners experiencing many electrical problems, and even Land Rover technicians themselves cannot even figure out what is going on. They cannot even do a diagnosis and actually find out what is going on and actually fixing it. Many of the consumers that have a Land Rover Evoque with problems talk about one thing: the inability for Land Rover technicians to pinpoint what is going wrong and fix it on time. At some point, consumers have to be without a car for weeks to even months, even years, while Land Rover is still trying to figure out what the problem is with the car. It is very crucial when you go to buy a Land Rover Evoque. Make sure you get someone who knows everything about the electronics of a car to go and check that car and make sure that all of the electronics are working perfectly fine before you take the car on the road. Number two, electrical short circuit. Now that one is a bit serious because when it's short circuit, usually Some of the consumers of the car have reported that the engine just switched off while you're driving in the middle of the freeway. Now, if you're driving on the freeway, the engine switches off. You don't have steering wheel and you don't have brakes. That's an accident. And also in some cases, the short circuits have also led to some fires. That is why it's very crucial before buying this car, you get someone to check all of the electronics, even the wirings that they can get through, to check everything if everything is working perfectly fine before you buy this car. Now, the third problem is one that has been admitted by Land Rover by issuing a recall. On all the first generation Land Rover Evoques, a recall has been issued because of the problem with the steering wheel. There is some problem between the steering wheel, where you are, and the wheels. Somewhere along the way there's a problem. Somewhere along the way Land Rover made a mistake, or there's something that's not working properly well. There's something not right with the steering of some of the first generation Land Rover Evoques. So get your mechanic to check if the car is turning very well and there's no problems with the steering wheel or the front wheels. Problem number 4 is actually the most horrible. That's fuel leaks. Land Rover has also issued a recall on some of the cars from the first generation because of fuel leaks. Never buy a car that has any smell of petrol, because no warranty is going to cover a car that has burnt down. There's no Land Rover warranty that's going to replace your car after it has burnt down, especially a second-hand car. You will be on your own. Usually fuel leaks are bad because petrol might get into other compartments of the engine or of the engine bay. It might destroy your engine, it might destroy other parts, or oil might get into the other compartments where it shouldn't be, and that will also cause problems, including maybe an engine rebuild or even your car burning. That's another thing that your mechanic has to check, if there are any leaks in the engine bay, under the engine bay, to make sure that your car is perfectly fine. And there's countless other problems as well, transmission issues, timing chain issues. Listen, just get your mechanic to drive this car, to check this car as if he's checking this car for his wife or his younger sister. They must just turn the car inside out, check everything before you buy this car, because this guy might be saving you from a whole host of problems before you spend this large amount of money. Because once you buy this Land Rover Evoque, you are on your own, whether with extended warranty or no extended warranty, whether it's pre-owned or what. Fact is, if you are buying a Land Rover Evoque, it's very crucial that you get a mechanic to check it first. Otherwise, never buy a Land Rover Evoque, ever, without getting someone to check that car, especially second-hand one, especially pre-owned Land Rover Evoque. Now, lastly, to help you or your family member, your brother or your sister that's currently owning a problem Land Rover Evoque, some of the problems need to be fixed for free, as it's part of the recall that Land Rover has issued on the first generation. So if you own a Land Rover, or you know someone who owns a Land Rover Evoque from 2011 until 2018, it's very important. It's very, very important, because some of our brothers and sisters are paying for repairs that should be fixed for free. Now, this is a list of all the problems that you might encounter with the first generation of the Land Rover Evoque, again from 2011 until 2018. If you have any Land Rover Evoque from 2011 and 2018, all of the following problems need to be fixed for free. It's part of a recall by Land Rover. You shouldn't be paying a cent for all of those things. Remember, a recall is the manufacturer admitting that, okay, this is a serious problem. It might be a safety issue, just like airbags not deploying, or airbags just deploying on their own, or ABS not working, or traction control not working, or the steering wheel not working, or electrical issues. It's usually manufacturer's way of saying this is a problem and we know that it might get you killed, so we want to fix it for free. So the following problems with the Land Rover Evoque 2011 until 2018 should be fixed for free. Land Rover says, okay, there's high emissions, I don't know what. Alright, and number 1, the fuel indicator problem. this specific issue, you might want to check Hello Peter on the other side, because there have been a couple of consumers that have reported that the car says the petrol is half of its full tank while the petrol is empty, to the point whereby the person gets stuck in the middle of nowhere. So the fuel gauge usually reads wrong information, or might say you have a lot of petrol while you're running on fumes. The fuel indicator or the petrol indicator might just lie, which means you might get stuck in the middle of nowhere. That's part of the recall, needs to be fixed for free. Fuel leaks. Hey, this one, man. Alright, your car might just fucking burn, or any leaks. Listen, any petrol leaking anywhere on this planet is not a good thing, let alone in your car, right? In a Land Rover, it's even worse. Okay, your car is going to burn. Any car in this planet should not have any smell of petrol, or petrol in the wrong compartments. You shouldn't be getting petrol in your if you smell petrol in your car, just take it in. Listen, fuel leaks are not a good thing. Your car will burn. At number 3, the locking ring might be incorrectly assembled. At number 4, electrical short circuits. Again, that might lead to fire. And number 5, passenger side airbag might not deploy. Accident. You don't want to kill your wife. At number 6, again, the steering column problem, the steering wheel problem, the steering problem. It's there. Land Rover has admitted that it's a problem, it's a serious problem. So whoever that's helping you buy this car needs to check if the steering wheel is perfectly fine. Also, there's a steering wheel problem again. Land Rover also mentions here there's a steering wheel problem again. So whoever that's going to be testing your car might want to check that. Next, again, it's fuel leaks again, which might lead to fire or other things going wrong. And number last is the engine just flat out dying. So you are driving on the freeway again and the engine just died. So all of these problems need to be fixed for free. Whether your car is still under warranty or not, it's a recall by Land Rover. So you shouldn't be paying for any of these problems, as majority of them are actually safety problems. So they need to be sorted out very fast. So those are some of the problems that you might encounter with the first generation of the Land Rover Evoque. If you are a nice lady or a guy and you just want your first car, or this is the only car that you want to buy, think twice, because all of these problems, sometimes with Land Rover, it takes time for Land Rover to fix all of these problems. There are countless customers, there are countless stories where someone bought a Land Rover as their only car, as their first car, and this person does not have a car for 2 weeks, 2 months, even the whole year, while Land Rover technicians are still trying to figure out which computer or which problem is causing which problem. So if you were considering buy the first generation of the Land Rover Evoque, those are all of the problems. The majority of the time, they don't take 1 week to fix, not even a month. Sometimes they go on for months, including years. There are customers who have bought a brand new or a certified pre-owned or a beautiful pre-owned Land Rover Evoque, and the car has been in the dealership since the first day of ownership, for the whole 6 months, even a year. So it's very crucial that if you were intending on buying the Land Rover Evoque, let it never be your only car. Let it be a second car or a third car. In case if your car has to go to Land Rover to be fixed for the whole 6 months, at least you still have a car to go up and down with. There are also many Land Rover Evoques that are out there on the roads and are doing very well and don't have any problems. This video is not an attack on the whole Land Rover or the whole Jaguar Land Rover brand. It's not. The issue here is the cars have problems and the problems need to be fixed. The problems should be fixed. That's it, nothing else. Mercedes, BMW, Audi, they have cars that have a lot of problems. Just that they fix their cars much better or much quicker than with Land Rover. There are a couple of problems there at Land Rover, right? Especially when it comes to their responsibility in fixing cars that belong to customers, even cars that are still under warranty. There are a lot of problems. You get many horror stories of people buying brand new cars and the cars are not fixed when they have problems. Now, with that said, if you find a good Land Rover Evoque and you hire a mechanic and he checks everything, all of those things, turns that car inside out, and he approves that car. You can buy that car and you will have a great car. However, if you can't find a perfectly good enough Land Rover Evoque, mechanically working, everything is working perfectly fine, electronics are working perfectly fine, everything is working perfectly fine, there are a couple of alternatives that you might want to try from other brands. Crossover SUVs that have scored much better when it comes to reliability and safety as well. So this is a list of 7 alternatives to the Land Rover Evoque that have scored much better when it comes to reliability or safety. At number 1 is the Toyota RAV4. Toyota with reliability has always been number 1. Number 2, Lexus UX. Lexus and Toyota, the same family, the UX should be fine. Like number 3, Mazda CX-5. It can't be worse than it. Number 4, Honda HR-V. That's also new from Honda, so it shouldn't be as bad as the Land Rover. At number 5, Mitsubishi Outlander. Don't know much about that car. Number 6, the Toyota RAV4. Again, a different variation. I think the first one may have been a hybrid. The second one is just a normal petrol RAV4. At number 7, the Lexus RX. Now, this is just a list of some of the alternatives that compete with the Land Rover Evoque. So if you can't find a perfectly working Land Rover Evoque or one in good condition, here are some of the alternatives that you can try, or tell your family member, especially the ladies. I know the Land Rover Evoque is a favorite with the ladies. Any guy who likes the Land Rover Evoque is just weird, okay? So it's a lady car. So it's very crucial and important that if your lady, your friend, your mother or sister cannot find a Land Rover Evoque in a perfect working condition, they can try some of the alternatives. Remember, we want you to spend money on this car. We want you to buy this car and drive it the whole 5 years. The 5 years that you will be paying this car, your hard-earned money, each and every month. It's sad to hear stories, horror stories, where someone bought a Land Rover Evoque and that person has only driven that car only once, only like one day, and then from there that car has been in the dealership for the next 6 months, and this person is paying every month insurance, everything for this car that's in the dealership, and Land Rover is dragging their feet trying to fix this car or not trying to fix this car. So yes, that's it. That's the identity of the first generation of the Land Rover Evoque. I hope this video has helped someone. This is just a mini research for any lady, any guy that does not have the time to do their own research. This is me doing research for you. This is the identity of the first generation of the Land Rover Evoque. This is a car that has a lot of problems. It's very crucial, before you buy this car, make sure that you do your research, get a mechanic to go and check this car, and then most importantly, if this video has helped you at some point, please like and subscribe. If you know a lady that wants to buy a Land Rover Evoque, share the video so that they can know what they are getting themselves into. Honest truth is, there are a lot of people who are driving this car and it's perfectly fine. And there's also a large percentage of owners of this car who are going through the worst, who have a horror story to tell. So it's very crucial, before any of your family members buy this car, that they check this car, they make sure that the car is working perfectly fine. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. If you subscribe, the channel gets to grow, and yeah, we can get other things, maybe a proper working camera, maybe a better camera to make better videos. Otherwise, thank you so much.